What is going on, everybody? This is Toronto Guy coming in audio form instead of video form via my Yeti microphone before I go on. I don't know why this matters, but yeah, I used to do podcasting from 2012 up until early last year, 2015, late 2014, where I would just, talk about everyday things about my life and funny stuff. And then I made the stupid decision of entering the dating scene, and my life was no longer fucking funny. I just couldn't talk about nothing unless I bitched and complained. So hence the microphone, and not, you're going to have to go without hearing you're going to have to go without seeing my pretty face here. Because of an article that I found. Anybody who watches my videos, first of all, thanks to everybody who's subscribed and commented, even the negative ones. I mean, I don't mind it. I really don't give a fuck if you have anything negative to say, because you're not going to change my opinions if what you say is simply just some fucking attempt at zinging me. Zings don't work on me. Okay, trust me, I've been zinged to fucking hell in my life, so they don't work on me anymore. I fucking heard them all. I'm immune to them. So yeah, thanks to everybody. I've got more subscribers on this channel than I do on my alternate channel, my main channel, if you will. I've got like 5 times more on this channel. It's insane. So I guess what I've been doing on my main channel has been hasn't been the money, if you will. But anyway, let's just get on with it. From Daily Mail, a well-known newspaper over in the United Kingdom. The headline is "Catfights over handbags and tears in the toilets." When this producer launched a women-only TV company, she thought she'd kissed goodbye to conflict. By Samantha Brick. And it is Samantha Brick who launched this thing. And this is her article from updated April 7th, 2009. This is awesome. So here we go. Over in one corner sat Alice, a strong-minded 27-year-old who always said what she thought, regardless of how much it might hurt someone else. In the other corner was Sarah, a 30-something high flyer who would stand up for herself momentarily, then burst into tears and run for the ladies. Obviously, the ladies shitter. Seeing how this was an all-female place, I'm sure there was no men shitter. But yeah, all right, continuing. Their simmering fight lasted hours, egged on by spectators taking sides and fueling the anger. Sometimes other girls would join in, either heckling aggressively or huddling defensively in toilets. It might sound like a scene from a tawdry reality show such as Big Brother, but the truth is a little more prosaic. It was just a normal morning in my office. So yeah, this Samantha Brick, this is her company. This was her idea. This was her bright idea. The venomous women were supposedly the talented employees I had headhunted to achieve my utopian dream, a female-only company with happy, harmonious workers benefiting from an absence of men. And here we have a picture of Samantha Brick. Not a bad-looking woman, but not the best-looking woman, showing some boob meat, which is good, but I don't know. All right. It was an idealistic vision swiftly shattered by the nightmare reality. Constant bitchiness, surging hormones, unchecked emotion, attention-seeking, and fashion rivalry so fierce it tore my staff apart. When I read the other day that Sienna Miller had said there was no such thing as, quote, the Sisterhood, I knew what she meant. Of course there's no sisterhood. It's all bullshit, guys and girls. It's bullshit. Deal with it. And this article is going to prove it. I can understand why people want to believe that women look out for each other, because with men in power at work and in politics, it makes sense for us to stick together. In fact, there was a time when I believed in the sisterhood, but that was before women at war led to my emotional and financial ruin. 5 years ago, I was working as a TV executive producer making shows for top channels such as MTV and based in Los Angeles. It sounds like a dream job, and it could have been, if I'd been male. Working in TV is notoriously difficult for women. There is a powerful old boys network, robust glass ceiling, and the majority of bosses are misogynistic males. Gradually, what had started out as a daydream, wouldn't it be great if there were no men where I worked, turned into an exciting concept. I decided to create the first all-female production company where smart, intelligent, career-oriented women could work harmoniously, free from the bravado of the opposite sex. In hindsight, I should have learned the lessons of my past. At my mixed secondary school, I was bullied by a gang of nasty name-calling girls, so I knew only too well how nasty groups of women could become. And working in TV, I'd met lots of super competitive, quote, door slammers who'd do anything to get to the top. But I told myself that, with the right women, work could be wonderful. So in April 2005, I left my job, remortgaged my house, freeing up close to £100,000, and began paying myself just £700 a month to set up this utopian business. Having worked extremely hard for 12 years, I had lots of experience and a good reputation. What could go wrong? Yeah, what can go wrong indeed? I hired a team of 7 staff and set up an office in Richmond upon Thames, Surrey. While the women I interviewed claimed to be enthused by the idea, they still insisted on high salaries. Fair enough, I thought at the time. They are professionals, and I knew most of them were talented and conscientious because I'd worked with them before. But within a week, 2 cliques had developed, those who had worked together before and those who were producing, quote, new ideas. Most days would bring a pointed moment when some people were invited out for lunch or a coffee break, and some weren't. Nothing explicit was ever said. The cuddling rejection was obvious enough. Even when we all went to the pub after work, strict divisions remained, made clear according to who sat where around the table and who would be civil or not to whom. Fashion was a great divider, though. In this battlefield, everyone was on their own. Fashion was a great divider, though in this battlefield, everyone was on their own. Hideously stereotypical and shallow as it sounds, clothes were a huge source of catty comments, from sly remarks about people looking overdressed to the merits of their fake tan application. So far, so good, huh? Yeah, what a dream. I always felt sorry for anyone who naively showed off a new purchase in the office, because everyone would coo appreciatively to their face, then harshly criticize them as soon as they were out of earshot. This happened without exception. Oh, I can go into a big story about that shit, what happened, with my ex-girlfriend and I. We unfortunately worked together. Continuing. My deputy Sarah, the general manager, first showed how much style mattered when she advertised for an office assistant and refused to hire the best qualified girl because she could not distinguish Missoni from Marc Jacobs. I guess those are fashion designers. So she wouldn't hire because a fucking woman had no fashion sense. Well, that's real fucking good. This girl would have been making tea and running errands, but I didn't challenge the decision not to hire her because I had a policy of picking my battles carefully. The office was like a Milan catwalk, but with the competitiveness of a Miss World contest and the low cunning of a mud wrestling bout. A fashion spat ended one friendship when Sarah and our young development researcher received the same surprise Christmas gift, a Chloe Paddington bag worth £900. When they clocked the matching bags in the office, it was like pistols at dawn. They forced a few compliments, but relations never recovered to the expense of my company. So how about that? 2 women received the same fucking purse for Christmas, and all hell broke loose. It's like those friggin' stories and TV shows and movies where two girls show up to the fucking prom wearing the same goddamn dress. Come on. Another time when two members of staff bought the same jeans, one proclaimed, quote, "They'll look better on me because I'm a size 8 and she's a 10. Fucking hell. It didn't take long for the office to become divided between the girls who wore makeup and those who didn't. Comments from the former were typically, quote, "Doesn't she know what spot cover-up is?" Or, quote, "Has she ever met a hairbrush?" While the God. While the no makeup clan were equally biting with comments behind their backs naturally, such as, quote, "People on the morning bus must think she's a prostitute." Or, quote, "She looks like a slapper." That must be a British term. The obsession with appearance meant nearly all the staff were on diets. If I bought a tuna mayonnaise baguette for lunch, I would overhear staff commenting that I was a pig. I'm a size 12. Two of the skinny girls often snidely said about the largest girl, quote, "I'd kill myself if I got that fat." One of the assistants got her own back on the food police for several weeks by pretending to buy them fat-free lattes, which were really full fat. Love it. Cattiness, isn't it great? Sisterhood for the win, everybody. Okay, employees considered it acceptable to take time off for beauty treatments and not out of their holiday allowance. One girl regularly came in late because she was getting her hair colored, and when I mentioned this, she blew up in outrage, though at least she had a reason. Most just turned up late regardless and huffed, quote, "That's the time my train gets in," if I pointed at the clock. In hindsight, I can see I should have been more strict. My idealism was my downfall because I tried to see the best in people. I was convinced they would behave as they were treated, so I treated everyone kindly. Yeah, sure. Yeah, I learned that. Learned that while I was playing the dating scene. Treat a woman kindly, and yeah, she'll fucking return the favor to somebody else. All right. If I'd have been more cynical, I would have been more successful. I was often trying to win contracts, but back at the office, work was an afterthought. It came second to conversations about shopping, boyfriends, and diets. Oh, and spiteful comments about my two development researchers who were sharpening their acrylic nails against another staff member, Natasha. 6 months after the company's inception, tension spilled over when one of the researchers took Natasha's laptop and refused to return it. That day, I was forced to cancel my meetings and return to the office to patch up relations. Like fucking children, I swear. Though Sarah, my general manager, was present, she refused to get involved because she didn't want to be the bad cop. Despite being in charge, she was scared at the prospect of being bitched about. It was as though in a woman-only environment, staff were unable to keep their defined roles. Well, of course they were. You know, these women aren't as strong as they like to think they are. Well, they're strong until they're forced with a situation that actually, requires them to be strong. All right, let's continue. Soon, arguments became a daily occurrence. It would start with snide comments between two people, then, as others joined in, emotion and anger would grow until an eruption, shouting, screaming, swearing, which always left someone in tears. Oh, what a friggin' estrogen waterfall this place must have been. Holy crap. An ocean of emotion. There we go. A nice red ocean of emotion, if you know what I mean. Then the friends of the woman who was upset would follow her to console her, leaving one group in the office and another group in the ladies. Both would then bitch unreservedly about each other and do absolutely no work. Yep, sounds very familiar. It reached the point that I even wrote a handbook for staff on how to be nice to each other. Oh my God, does that shit hit home. The advice centered on being respectful to everyone and treating people equally, taking phone messages properly whether the call was for me or a junior. I also said there should be no more criticizing or whispering in the office, but although when people read it they said they loved the idea, it made no difference. Many of the women were aggressive or defensive or both. The most aggressive masked a host of insecurities with their outgoing nature, while the defensive ones opened up openly when provoked. The worst type I encountered, however, was the passive-aggressive, she doesn't seem mean, but it's the worst of the pack, ruthlessly bringing you down in such a sweet and unassuming manner that you don't realize what she's done until long after the event. She conceals her bitchy words in flowery phrases. One of my staff told another sweetly, quote, "I don't mean to be a bitch, but I just can't bear to be in the same room and breathe the same air as you right now." Women, holy fucking hell. But the biggest force wasn't personality type, it was hormones. Of course it was. When one woman started having IVF, I'm guessing that means her period, she unleashed her rage without warning and without apology. Well, of course, man, you have an all-woman anything. The more women you have, the odds are there's going to be at least one woman fucking perioding all over the goddamn place every fucking day. So you're always going to have at least one cranky fucking cunt. Of course you are. Come on, man. Oh, yeah. Women don't need men. Yeah, you don't fucking kill each other. You kidding me? You need us to keep that from happening. Continue. At that time of the month, which in an office staffed only by women meant someone always was on that point, like I just said, any bad mood was swiftly passed on to the rest of the team as if by osmosis. Like a fucking virus spreading, I can imagine. Hormones came second as an excuse for absence and bad temper only to love life problems. When one woman split up with her boyfriend, I was told in no uncertain terms by her that I must be super understanding and sensitive towards her at work. In an email she sent me. A true drama queen. Her tears went on for a week. Naturally, her enemies in the office delighted in her broken heart. Oh, I'm sure they did. Another girl juggling two relationships at once frequently primed everyone in the office about what to say to whom whenever either of the men called the office. Okay. Another woman had a voracious sexual appetite and, in a female-only environment, saw nothing wrong with screeching across the open-plan room details of her marathon sex sessions. I received frequent complaints about her crude language. I can still remember the name of all my staff's partners and their affairs because it interfered with our work so often. Professionally, however, the company was somehow thriving. We secured 2 program commissions, one with ITV and a series with Living TV, so I could afford new offices in West London. But this brought another explosion from Sarah when she paid out for a parking permit while another girl was given a free space by the building's landlord. During a massive row, Sarah said the girl had overstepped her rank, while the girl told her it was just, quote, tough. They never spoke again. The effect a lack of testosterone was having in our office was even more apparent when I temporarily hired 2 male directors to work on a series. Brackets. Camera operators are usually men because of the heavy equipment. Of course, man, because we're men. We got muscles, man. We're fucking powerful. We build this shit. We build these cities on rock and roll, and these fucking women turning into goddamn Ed Sheeran fucking love ballads. Moving on. The team suddenly became quieter, more hardworking, and less bitchy, partly because they were too busy flirting. Yeah. 2 girls openly went after one director. Even though he had a live-in girlfriend, his partner didn't stand a chance against their relentless flirting and was dumped when one of them won his affections. Nice going, dude. That's right. Date a coworker. That's another. Well, I already told you all. My fucking ex-girlfriend and I work at the same place. Don't date a coworker, guys and girls, but especially guys. Don't date a fucking coworker. I don't care if she's smoking hot, ultra cool. It's a fucking disaster waiting to happen. Moving on. When we had meetings with men, staff turned ferocious, each out to prove that they were the sexiest in the room. Fucking hell. With a male commissioner at Channel 4, one employee said, quote, "Watch this," then stuck her hand down her bra and tweaked her nipples. The man and I were speechless. In this climate, I didn't dare employ any men because of the distraction and, even worse, catfights they created. I hate how much that sounds like stereotyping, but I'm afraid it's what I found to be true. And while I stand by my initial reason for excluding male employees because they have an easy ride in TV, if I were to do it again, I'd definitely employ men. In fact, I'd probably employ only men. That's right. Making close to $500,000 in our first year should have meant profit, but this was wiped out by high salaries and accounting errors by staff. Then when we began having cash flow problems, Sarah signed herself off sick with stress for a month. She also confessed she'd been dodging calls from people who were due payment, thus ruining my firm's reputation. Way to go, bitch. But then I was back and forth. By then, I was back and forth on a plane between Britain and the US, dealing with fractious staff in London and barmy LA producers. My general manager was nowhere to be found. Bills hadn't been paid, and the tension in the office was palpable. To pump extra cash into the business, I sold both my cars, but it was too late, and we went bankrupt in March 2007, less than 2 years after I'd formed the company. Though I will not absolve myself of all guilt, I believe the business was ruined by the destructive jealousy and infighting of an all-female staff. Their selfishness and insecurities led to my company's demise. When I needed this so-called, quote, sisterhood, believe me, it just wasn't there. And there you have it, everybody. You imagine if this gender war got real bad and the men and women said, okay, fuck you women, and the women said, fuck you men. Let's all just live apart. Who would get dibs on everything? I mean, all this stuff that's built. I think that, since men built all the buildings, built the fucking roads, built all this shit, we have dibs on all that shit. Women can keep what they built, So what did women build? People help me out. What well-known or even and I'm not talking about, I mean just like majority women. I'm not talking about, I saw a woman doing Habitat for Humanity helping build a house. Yeah, well, I'm sure that was probably about, for every one woman working on those projects, there's probably about 50 million men. I'm being sarcastic, but obviously there's more men than women doing that shit. So yeah, let's separate for a year, and whoever built the houses and the buildings, whichever gender was most involved in each specific one, they get to, have it for themselves. So basically, you women would be out on your asses. But you don't need us, right? Yet you sit in the comfort of your houses and your buildings and your fucking offices, which were all built by mostly, if not only men, and then you tell us how we're not needed. Well, this woman, Samantha Brick, kind of a butterface, but I'd still do her with the intent of, I'd let her clean up afterwards, and then, she can go home and, bye. But yeah, you don't need us, do you? You can make it on your own? No, you can't.